Who's ready to win the day in sports? I know you are. Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com, Monday through Friday, noon to 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm Justin Fensterman, and let's break everything down from a fantasy sports perspective. Good afternoon, everybody, or morning if you're not on the East Coast. My name is Justin Fensterman. You can follow me on all socials at Fensty Sports, Fensty Sports, and catch all my work at FantasyGuru.com. And welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily here on the Elite Plus Network, powered by the good old FG. Like I said, FantasyGuru.com. It's great being with everybody, as you know by now, on Wednesdays, because this is a free stream, kind of like your gateway to all of our content at FantasyGuru.com. And with that being a free stream, Ray Flowers hosts Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, noon Eastern. I take on the wacky Wednesday, the midweek madness edition of the stream. And you can catch Ray, by the way, today with Jeff Mans on the Elite Sports Show, 3 p.m. Eastern, all week long on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. So we'll be talking some football, talking some baseball with all y'all. Angelo, what is going on? It's always great to see you. Angelo, definitely a P1 streamer right here with us, always in the streams, always hanging out. Angelo, great to see you. By the way, for everybody out there that wants some amazing Fantasy Guru merch there, I'll bring up the link to get to our site store. We have a lot to offer: hats, sweatshirts, t-shirts. I got a bunch of them, a bunch of options, including this hat right here. Very comfy, even for my balding head. It's amazing. So make sure you go right there. You see the link to get to our store, and make sure that you get yourself some Elite Mafia gear. Even that t-shirt I wore last week, Elite Mafia on it. We've got one of those shirts today, though, when it comes to the wardrobe. So I've been doing these pre-show videos for the Elite Sports Game Time show, the little sister show of Elite Sports. Ray Flowers and I host that Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern on Fantasy Sports Radio. And a few nights ago, because I make different pre-show videos, I wear different threads, a lot of throwback stuff. I'm very into that. I decided to wear my old shooting shirt from about 1999. I have a lot of clothes that magically still fit me. I can just gain and gain and gain weight, and the clothes magically still fit me. Yeah, I'm sure back then I got a very large size for that to be the case. But at the same time, it just impresses me that I still have a few pieces of sports gear that fits me, including this one right here. Although I don't like this Knicks logo from 2000. They tried to get different, get edgy, but instead this logo stinks compared to the normal Knick logo right there. But I am wearing this because a few of you did comment, again, at Fensty Sports on all socials, that you like this. You hadn't seen this. It made your memories jog. So I said, I figure I'd wear this from the stream, give you a break from seeing my amazing big arms that I have. Big arms, right, in those sleeveless jerseys. So today I'm giving your eyes a break and giving you a shooting shirt right here, because we've got a lot to talk about. Let me tell you what is coming up on today's stream. Singh is going to stop by, another Long Islander like me. Grew up on the North Shore. He grew up on the South Shore. It doesn't matter. He's going to stop by to talk about the excitement and what's going on around the NBA, in particular in the Eastern Conference. We're going to preview the games from the DFS end together. As you know by now, if you do subscribe at FantasyGuru.com, we're continuing the NBA coverage as long as we have multi-game slates. It's been pretty much me and Singh splitting them for the site, splitting the write-up. Scott Bonder also helping out too. And so we're going to talk a little bit of strategy, what's gone on with the playoffs and how we've built our lineups and done our write-ups on a nightly basis, because where there's action, we've got you at FG. And while the NBA playoffs are still on and rocking and rolling, we're going to have DFS content. And even though the write-ups will disappear once we head to showdown area, showdown slates, just the one games once we hit the conference finals, we'll still be helping out in our Discord, very active in our Discord. And also the betting doesn't stop. I kind of man the betting for it as well for the NBA. So that doesn't stop. Coming off a 2-1 night after a cold weekend little bit of a cold weekend, but it's been a very hot overall last 3 months. So you're going to take your lumps sometimes, especially in the postseason, and especially when you're dealing with a blowout, which we've had a few of them. Hopefully moving forward, we get some closer games, and we definitely saw that last night. And today I'm going to talk about some of the betting strategies that I have going into this evening. I'll post bets later on, and you'll see my write-up on the site a little bit later on, maybe my final NBA write-up for the season, depending on if we have a multi-game slate on Monday somehow. I don't know, one of the game sevens, or Tuesday, one of the game sevens, and then the other being a conference final game in the other conference. So we'll have to wait and see there, but it doesn't stop. The fun never stops right here. By the way, we do talk a lot of multi-sport action on these shows. And I will tell you that you're probably wondering, well, Fensty, you do a lot of basketball. What happens once we hit the NBA Finals? What happens after the finals are over? And that's why I'm going to tell you, starting, I'd say, in about 2 weeks from now, 2 weeks, so maybe like first week of June, we're going to start to expand on Wednesday the coverage beyond basketball. Still going to be covering basketball, still going to be covering the what's left of the conference finals and the finals, but I will also be heading into other sports. And when you lock into this stream all week long, we bring on some of our analysts, Russell Clay, Armando Marsal, Tyler Beaker. They come on every week. Rich Mileto, someone who joins me during the season to talk some football every Wednesday. He also does NASCAR content, and I'm going to bring him on. I'm going to try to bring on some of our other analysts as well to talk some of those other sports that don't necessarily get much attention, and even talk a little baseball too. You'll get the baseball edge from my perspective. You get Rays most of the week. You'll get it from my area. So that's a long way of me telling you that starting in early June, the coverage is going to expand beyond basketball. It's going to be really starting to hit the football hard. I can't wait. Bring on the fantasy football season already. You see the content we have on the site. How can you not be excited? How can you not be? But let's say you want to get in on the baseball action too. Right now, you can get it all for $75. All the seasonal coverage we do, the DFS, and also the betting. Ray Flowers has been amazing with betting this year. Hell, it's almost, I say this jokingly, but kind of not. It's almost like Ray saved some bets to hit for the show. He's cashing bets before Elite Sports Game Time comes on at 8 p.m. Eastern. So that just is a testament to how well he's doing and getting into that betting world as he has in the last couple of years. And he's definitely picked a lot of winners, so you can get it all for $75. And with the way that Ray's been betting and the success that he's had, you can almost pay it off in just a couple of nights, depending on how much you bet. I know we got a few high rollers right there. So let's talk about the lay of the land in the NBA before Serge Singh from fantasyguru.com joins me. Wow. Just wow. To think of where we were just a couple of weeks ago and to now where we're at, which is the Indiana Pacers going back to the Eastern Conference Finals. And it's amazing to see, but here's the thing that we can't forget. And I see a lot of people complaining on social saying, what's the point of the regular season if the first place team loses? That's a terrible, crappy take. That's a lazy sports take right there. That's a shock jock type of take. That what's the point of the regular season? It doesn't always happen via the script the way it's supposed to. That's why it's called the playoffs. Why not have, at that point, just two teams make it? Your East number one and your West number one, and do a final. All this complaining about. And number two, here's what everybody else, and you can tell the people that are writing these takes, and I go on a few local shows and I see the host and I just want to respond so badly, and I'm not one to tend to argue and get into Twitter wars and stuff, but when I see people I respect just all of a sudden put out a lazy take just to get a reaction, that's really what it is. That's the medicine. That's how it works. That's how you get the reaction, by putting out such a stupid take and be, what's the point of the regular season when you have the number one seed going out in the second round? Well, how about the number one seed was hurt for a decent portion of the playoffs? You don't think of that. You don't remember that. Little things like Donovan Mitchell hurting his ankle, having to leave a game. Darius Garland dealing with an ongoing toe injury that, yeah, he's playing, but he's not 100%. He's wincing up and down the court. The cameras are showing it. Film don't lie. He's wincing. DeAndre Hunter, Evan Mobley missing a game. I mean, come on. That's crucial in a 7-game series. And here's the other thing. The Pacers were almost as big of a threat on the offensive end as the Cavs were in the regular season. The Cavs were the better overall team, tremendous defense, but you could say this about any team. You can't win when you're hurt necessarily. You can't. It takes a lot. Like, it's going to take a lot for the Celtics to come back and beat the Knicks. Can they do it? Yes, they can. There are ways that they can do it, but it's very difficult without your number one guy. And it's great to see that the Pacers and Halliburton getting the credit and everything. But I'll just say this about Indiana. Indiana has now played 4 of their last 5 playoff series against teams that lost players due to injury. Not their fault. Not saying they necessarily lose the series, but you think that the Pacers would have won this series 4-1 if the Cavs were fully healthy? No. We'd be, in my opinion, from what I thought with this series, we'd be heading to game 6 right now with Cleveland up 3-2. I'd give Indiana a game or two. I'll give good offense, strong shooting, because they are a really good shooting team. And if Cleveland didn't shoot well, it was going to be whoever the shoe was going to drop, whoever wasn't going to shoot well in that series. When I say well, I mean not 49-50%, but 43-45 versus 49-50% shooting. That's what it was going to come down to. So it's not that the regular season doesn't matter. And with the Indiana Pacers, they played last year. They played the Bucks in the first round, who were hurt. Then they played the Knicks with lost players in the first round, then lost even more in the second round. They lost Anunoby in the second round. They lost Josh Hart for a little bit. He wasn't 100%. Jalen Brunson in game 7 busts his thumb. I mean, or his hand, whatever it was. Then this year, they're facing a Bucks team that's injured again going into the playoffs, and then all of a sudden, Damian Lillard comes back and just gets hurt, just like that. The next round, they're facing a team where you've got half the starting lineup and a bench player hurt for Cleveland. So Indiana's gotten, I want to say, a little bit of a break because of that. What happened in that one outlier series? It wasn't even an outlier. They played Boston last year, and they got swept out of the playoffs in the conference finals. It wasn't even a competition. Maybe game 1, if I remember, but outside of that, it was barely, you wouldn't have thought. They shot their shot in the second round against the Knicks that last year. This year, I mean, they did a great job. They're a good offensive team. They've got different guys coming through. Their starting lineup is fun. But let's see Indiana play a fully loaded and healthy team and see if they can win. And unfortunately, if Boston comes back and wins the series, that's not going to be the case because Jayson Tatum, as you know, as we've all seen, tore his Achilles. He's out for probably the next 12 months. I see him potentially a way for him to come back right after All-Star break. But this is just such a big time just let down because Jayson Tatum is just a great player for basketball. Just a tremendous player for basketball. Solid all-around forward. And look, I know Knicks fans right now are probably thrilled about this. And yeah, I understand that to an extent, but you don't want to necessarily win a series where a team loses their star player. And I'll say this, the Knicks last game played their first actual good playoff game overall. Good playoff game. Not anything where they've had to come back down, but you know what? This team, they can go down and they can come back. Big time second half team, but they shot well. And that was the big thing for the Knicks here. That's a big thing. I mean, you're seeing it right here. Boston's favored tonight. Can you believe that? I mean, the Knicks won last game. They shot well. And here we are, no Jayson Tatum, and Boston is favored by 4.5 points. That just shows this team is loaded with talent. They've got guys that can beat the Knicks, and the Knicks haven't been that good of a shooting team. And If the Knicks go back to shooting 38% from the field, and you got Derrick White hitting every shot, and Jaylen Brown is hot, and Drew Holiday, who I anticipate getting reacclimated into the offense with no Jayson Tatum, they're all hitting shots. They're all hitting their threes. The Knicks have been giving them the arc. Then they're going to find ways to win games. They are, even without Jayson Tatum. It's going to be hard. Jayson Tatum was crushing the Knicks. That's what he does. Jaylen Brown might not be 100%, but he's shown like he's healthy. So we'll have to see. But at the end of the day, it's interesting that the Celtics are still favored there. But if you look at futures, and this is interesting, and I wanted to show you guys this. Look at last week, what the championship futures were compared to this week. I mean, this week, yeah, the Thunder are now minus 120 just from that win last night. Big win for Oklahoma City. Big win. They were down, and they came back. That's what great teams do. And I know a lot of people right now are really on the Minnesota Timberwolves, talking about how great they are, already saying they're going to the championship. You can't forget about the Thunder, how good they've been all year, how deep they are, just how good they are overall. And that's why they're minus 120. And then you have the Knicks after that. I find it very funny that for championship futures, the Knicks are at plus 500, yet they're an underdog for tonight's game. I find that very fascinating. Very much so. And by the way, I'll say this because look, and Jayson, I'm with you. A lot of years suffering. I'm rooting for the Knicks. But when it comes to DFS and betting, that's not personal to me. It's business. And I'm going to build against the Knicks if I have to. I'm going to bet against the Knicks in certain capacities. I am. Derrick White has been crushing the Knicks. The Knicks have had no answer for him. How's that going to change tonight? I don't know. Really don't know. He's going to be getting some safe shots. That's all we know because he's been open the entire series. So I know that last game, which was just the best playoff game the Knicks have played. But at the end of the day, this series isn't over yet. The Knicks have shot very poorly. And if they're going to shoot poorly, they need Boston to be missing everything tonight. Everything. Otherwise, if the Knicks shoot, like I said, the magic percentage, which has come to fruition, that if the Celtics are shooting like they shoot, the Knicks need themselves, forgetting what Boston does, the Knicks need to shoot 47% from the field tonight. 47%. And now with no Jayson Tatum, I feel like that's going to get it done. The Knicks shoot 47% from the field tonight. Unless Boston's shooting 65-70 the entire game, the Knicks will win the game this evening. Knicks are better as well at closing series out on the road. I really don't know why. They've been horrible at home. I was there in 2001. Oh, I'll never, ever forget this. Oh, I don't even want to talk about it. 2001. It's the first round. And this was back when first rounds in the NBA playoffs were a best of 5, which I thought were kind of cool, but best of 7s give you the real, I mean, I like the best of 5, but I understood why it was changed. So I was at game 5, and I couldn't tell you the last time at the time when the Knicks lost in the first round was. I think it was before that time. They had lost in the first round back in 1991. I think the Bulls beat them in the first round that year. And that was really what, it came down to. But now it's 2001, and the Knicks had just gone to the conference finals. They got rid of Patrick Ewing that year. They're facing the Raptors. They're facing Vince Carter. I forget if Tracy McGrady is still on the team at the time. He might have been. That might have been his last year with Toronto before they traded him to Orlando, before he went to Orlando. And just, I'll never forget being there and just thinking, the Knicks are going to win this game 5 at home, Madison Square Garden. I had hair back then. I had spray painted my hair half orange and half blue. And I was on the train and I started dripping orange and blue sweat at one point. All that for the Knicks to lose in game 5. So I've been there. I've seen it. I've seen the Knicks. In fact, my record for Knicks home playoff games is actually 0-4. Literally 0-4. I went to 2000 against the Heat. They lost that game 3 in overtime. I went to, what did I go to? I went to 2001, game 5 of the first round. They lost that and got eliminated. And then in 2004, I went to games 3 and 4. And the guys that were sitting with me and my dad for game 3 or next to us felt so bad. And I guess they were from out of town that they gave us heavily discounted game 4 tickets thinking the Knicks were going to get swept by the Nets. And they did. And they did. So I was at all those games there. So I've seen it. The Knicks are better at closing out series on the road, but the Knicks are going to need to shoot like they did last game. Mikal Bridges, we saw him start attacking the basket. He was very timid in game 3. Game 4 started attacking the basket again, and that's where we're going to have to look for him tonight here to do that once again. He's been a different player in the NBA playoffs. He's been a completely different player. And I'm going to get Serge Singh's take on this. For the Boston side of it, who else besides obviously Jaylen Brown and Derrick White is at an advantageous spot with no Tatum? Al Horford, we're going to have to look at him a little bit more. He's going to be tasked to shoot more. Sam Hauser is probable. I think he's a little bit sneaky. So I think that, who knows how many minutes he's going to play, but I think he's a little bit sneaky. For DFS, I don't know if I'd go there, but if he's deemed healthy, he could end up playing 10 to 13 minutes. So maybe, there are worse pump plays that you could go with. But I think for me, the player that I'm locked into, because Jaylen Brown, Derrick White, their shot floors are safe. Drew Holiday, who had been doing a great job against the Knicks, scoring like 16 points a game throughout the regular season. Drew Holiday hasn't been taking shots anymore. And I think that Drew Holiday is going to start taking some shots. We'll have to see what Porzingis does. He's not looked good at all this series. So it's, what you're getting into, and who knows how many minutes he could go. He's still feeling the effects from this unidentified illness. So we'll have to, so I'm not really trusting him if he ends up breaking the slate good, but I can't with the way I'm even watching him on the court, just doesn't look like the same guy always. So that's why I'm going to trust Al Horford for DFS a little bit more. I'm going to, I've got Jaylen Brown in the write-up, but Derrick White, they've had no answer for him. I don't think anything's going to change that. Derrick White, to me, very attractive tonight. Drew Holiday, more attractive. Peyton Pritchard will be someone, and he's someone that's been able to get open against the Knicks too. Pritchard and Derrick White just continue to get open threes against them. So I think both of those guys are very attractive tonight. Is Drew Holiday locked in to shots? No, but you would think that with 20-plus shots now on the table with no Tatum, you would think that he'd be involved a little bit more. And if the Knicks are going to give him the arc, then he's going to shoot. So it's going to be, for me tonight with my builds, very guard heavy when it comes to the Celtics side, because all of them are in good positions. They literally all are in good positions. As for the Knicks side of it, Jalen Brunson has done a great job against the Celtics this series, so he's in play. Got to give props to Karl-Anthony Towns, who's also playing hurt, but it's not impacting his status. The big one is the point of differential tonight to me is OG Anunoby. Not having Jayson Tatum on you necessarily is huge for OG Anunoby. And it makes me wonder about Josh Hart too, if he's going to have more room to move, because Josh Hart hasn't fully been able to really get going. So those guys are a lot more intriguing now. Josh Hart producing in more categories, but OG Anunoby is going to have a pretty big scoring game. And with no Tatum there, I feel like he'll be able to get more open shots. So really, it's pick your poison between the two. I think that ultimately the higher production ceiling tonight goes to OG Anunoby, but the safer floor guy is Josh Hart to me, thinking that maybe he'll be able to rebound a little bit more with no Jayson Tatum. You take a Jayson Tatum off a team, and I know I've been kind of anti-Knicks here, but only because I've got everybody messaging me, reaching out, and I'm glad everybody's excited. Serge will probably be excited when he comes and joins me here in a few minutes. And I'm very excited as someone who roots for the team. But this isn't about personal fandom excitement. This is how we can beat the book still, whether it's from the Knicks side or the Celtics side. I've been rocking and rolling, looking at Mikal Bridges' rebounds, going to be looking there. I'll also be, once again, looking at Derrick White, too. I don't know if I'm going to try to do something which could be smart or which could shoot me in the foot again, and that's try to alt line parlay Derrick White and Drew Holiday's points. But tonight would be a little bit of a safer option to do it. If I could get it at 8, maybe I'll do the case. But for me, Derrick White's points are pretty safe, and he's now going to be taking, you got to think he's going to be taking 17 to 22 shots tonight. I mean, he's been great for them in this series. And Jalen Brunson, he's averaged over 18 points overall, taking the season and the playoff games into account. Over 18 points against the Knicks. So when you see that, you just got to feel encouraged that tonight he's going to be featured a lot more. I mean, he's already heavily featured. He's going to have more time with the ball. So that should also help his assist production too. So while talking to you guys right now, trying to figure out a possible core play from this game, Derrick White definitely is the standout player from the Celtics side. With the Knicks, we could look at Jalen Brunson tonight as well, because again, he's had a lot of success scoring, and with Tatum switching on him or anything like that, or Brown allowing Brown freed up to switch on him, he should be able to penetrate a little bit more successfully. And that's why I'm very interested in this game tonight, but it's for the Knicks, not out of the woods. And with that in mind, let's talk to somebody else who grew up on the island, someone who's probably very excited about some basketball tonight, and that is my guest. You know him, you love him. It's Singh hanging out with me here on Fantasy Sports Daily. Find his work at fantasyguru.com. Serge, what's going on, man? How's everything?
Pretty good, Fensty. Thanks for having me on. I've just been stressed out constantly with all the sports going on lately as a fan because like you said, I'm from the island, so I'm a Knicks fan, I'm a Mets fan, and then in soccer, Barcelona has been killing it for me too. So like every day is another day of me being stressed out being a fan, and it's been years since I felt like this.
Well, how do you feel right now? Because I feel like a lot of Knicks faithful are pretty damn confident going into tonight. I mean, after the way they shot last game and now no more Jayson Tatum. And I've spent the last 20 minutes or so telling everybody that this series isn't over, partly because of how bad the Knicks have been shooting overall in the playoffs.
So basically, they stole the first two games. They didn't play good offense for three. They haven't played good offense till last game.
Right.
Till last game. They finally figured out how to play offense. And I don't know if it was they were making their shots. Bridges was hitting their mid range. Brunson finally stepped up, had his big game. But like those first three games, yeah, they sold the first two, but that's only because the Celtics chose to abandon going in the paint and just let the Knicks go back into it. And they've been a great fourth quarter team. But finally, we saw the positive regression with the Knicks' actual offense. Like they actually played every game. Every time the Celtics went up 10 points, they went on their own run. They were playing decent offense. I still wish they could play like a more efficient offense, but we'll see what happens tonight. And I'm still really worried. I am not confident. I don't care if Tatum's out. That's not what I'm worried about with the Knicks. I always know Tatum's going to do his thing. I'm worried about Derrick White. I'm worried about Payne Pritchard. I'm worried about Jaylen Brown's going to step up. I'm worried about Porzingis getting these putbacks. And I'm worried about the Knicks not playing good offense again in TD Garden.
Yeah, and it seems like from the post-game convos, everyone's remaining focused. It was a very good win and for them. And like you said, it was the first game where they actually showed offense for most of the game, and it wasn't falling behind by a bunch of points and then being the second half team that they've been. However, when I'm thinking about it from a DFS standpoint tonight, Serge, I don't know if you've been going with the same strategies. I've been kind of committing for my core fours with these 2-game slates. I've been kind of committing to one matchup. Really, I find myself committing 3 of the 4 to one matchup, maybe even one team sometimes. And I feel like you kind of have to do that, and you have to hedge, especially if you're paying up for some of these studs.
I agree. You want to pick the game that you're more confident in, not even like from a scoring perspective, just like a game script perspective. Is it going to be close? Are their stars going to perform? Are the other stars on the other team going to uh reciprocate? And then usually the game that does the best usually has the best value. And these 2-game slates, you will not make a good lineup without hitting the right value pieces, because sometimes the value pieces on these playoff slates where teams only have 8, 9-man rotations, sometimes these value guys only get you like 5 to 10 points if they're just not playing well. So if you're not hitting your value guys in the right game script, then it doesn't even matter what your stars do.
It's just when you look at tonight's slate, and I'm on the write-up, and you'll be on the write-ups a little bit later in the week. I believe Friday you'll be on the write-up. I mean, if we have one, I mean, that's the big thing.
Hopefully we don't.
Well,
Hopefully no.
I'll tell you, Serge, I'll tell you this, man. I almost messaged you because I saw that, and I don't know why they did this. I mean, you can't tell me it's because of the Preakness. No games were scheduled on Saturday.
I know.
And I didn't understand why. So instead of having basketball, even a little exposure on Saturday, let's say all of these series extended, you'd have 3 games Sunday instead, which is just shocking the way they'd schedule that. You can't tell me that it's because of the Preakness, right?
I don't like to think it's because of the Preakness, but I don't know. I don't understand. Like looking back when they decided this schedule, like what else could affect it. But then the NBA always does weird things, so I'm not shocked that they're like, oh, let's just jam a bunch of basketball on Sunday if it gets there.
Oh, you mean weird things like the Mavs getting the number one overall pick in the draft and access to for flag?
And then Spurs getting the second, and then the Sixers getting the third. None of these teams need any of those picks.
How you keep Joel Embiid in Philadelphia? Get him Cooper Flag. Yeah. Get him one of the Rutgers guys, and that's it. Oh man, we can talk about that all day. But instead, let me ask you this: from the Knicks Celtics game, if there is one play that you like from either team that you would put in a core 4, I'll tell you who mine is. I already kind of just said it before. I'll just tell you because I told everyone before. Mine is Derrick White, only because the Knicks have had absolutely no answer from him. I've written up prop after prop on him for his points. You saw last game, immediately left open for 3 threes, hit them all. He's making it look easy. No Tatum now, so the shot floor is safe no matter what the lead or deficit might be. And I got to ask you, man, is there anybody else from this matchup that you feel safer investing in for DFS?
When you started that question off, it was Derrick White. I mean, he's been just, what was he, 6 from 11 from 3 last game. He's just been getting constant open shots. Now, will he get the same looks without Tatum being there? Maybe gets a little less looks, but honestly, the shot volume should go up. The way he runs the offense, and he's been a Knicks killer this whole series, like defensively, offensively. Honestly, I did see a stat though last game. The Knicks kind of picked on him a little bit, and he allowed 75% field goal percentage to Brunson and Bridges combined. But still, this guy's drawing charges. He's going to play 45, 46 minutes, I bet. I won't be shocked he's going to score 20 raw points plus steals and assists combined. He's going to have the ball more in his hands. Like Jaylen Brown, obviously, we expect him to see like that 3-4% boost usage. But we've seen in these with the Celtics all year long, when Tatum was out, White was stepping up. Like, and now in a must-win situation, I think White is safe. But like to deviate from your pick, because you already gave that out to everyone, I feel like Peyton Pritchard is going to kill us tonight. I'm just feeling it. He's gonna his body's just gonna be tumbling in the paint. He's just gonna, like those Derrick White open threes that he's getting all series long. I feel like it's gonna transition into Peyton Pritchard because that's 40 minutes of Tatum that's not gonna be on the floor. And yeah, I expect Porzingis to start, but like at the end of the day, maybe he plays only 25, 26 minutes. Peyton Pritchard's gonna have to play like 30 minutes tonight.
Yeah.
So if I had a core tonight, Derrick White and Peyton Pritchard would be in it.
Wow, so Pritchard would actually be in the core for you too. See, I'm wondering if what you're saying about Pritchard, if those shots are going to go to Drew Holiday at all. Drew Holiday has done well against the Knicks, but he doesn't shoot. There are games where he just doesn't shoot, and he's very efficient. It's kind of like Aaron Nesmith. It's the same thing. Aaron Nesmith is hella efficient, but there are games where he takes 6 to 7 shots, and that's it. Drew Holiday has games where he'll take 13, and then the next game he'll take 5 or 6, no matter how efficient he is from the field.
Yep. And every time Drew shoots, I get scared because he's a smart player. He always takes high efficient shots. So I don't want Drew to be shooting because he's only shooting because he thinks he's getting an advantage on the court. But yeah, like you said, last game he only had like 5 shots. I think he scored like 4 points. And like, Someone playing 35 minutes at a guard position should not be only scoring 4 points. So one of these guys are going to have to step up. It's either going to be Drew, Pritchard, White's going to be doing his thing, Brown's going to be doing his thing. So, and from the guards' perspective, yeah, Drew or Pritchard, if the Celtics are going to win tonight, and I think they will, because I just don't trust the Knicks. Yeah, it would be White and then one of those guys for a double Celtic core, and then maybe run back with 2 Knicks or another T Wolf or something like that.
Right. I mean, from the Knicks side, I'm having a lot of trouble figuring out who to trust because their lineup is so tight. Mitchell Robinson, I want to trust more, but he's not. Yeah, he's just crossing 5X, but it's not a locked in guarantee. And Jalen Brunson's been playing great. To me, he's the safest of the Knicks. Although I start to think about it, and I wonder if with no Tatum, if OG Anunoby is going to be getting better looks tonight. Now, I was talking about this before. If I had to choose between, because I don't want to completely build with the Knicks, although ownership on them probably won't be up at all outside of Brunson. But Josh Hart just has more multi-category production potential. Where OG Anunoby, I'm expecting him to get better looks, but he could be very scoring dependent. So if you were choosing between those two, Hart and Anunoby, who do you like better for tonight's particular matchup?
I think no matter what, every game I'm picking Hart. Like you said, from a DFS perspective, I just think Hart's ability to just always have an impact on the game. Don't get me wrong, Anunoby always has an impact on the game because of his defense, his hustle, but some of that doesn't show up in the DFS standpoint. Hart, everything he's doing is showing up on the score sheet, whether it's a rebound, an assist, a steal, and so he had a couple breakout performances scoring wise, because like usually he struggles to score 10 points because these other guys have so much shot volume, but he's getting looks and stuff like that. He may or may not be injured. We don't know how he's feeling with that wrist. But in terms of a DFS perspective, if I can only pick one, I think I just feel like Hart is a safer choice. Anunoby, definitely for GPP and a lower ownership. But like these Knicks, Mikal Bridges is in the same boat. Like for the first time this series, all 4 guys scored 20. All 4 of their mains, they all scored 20 plus. And of course they won the game. That's the recipe for success.
Right. We don't always see that. And
we don't.
Something Serge said, and there are certain teams that we can identify next year, but this year, the Knicks being one of them, their play on the court doesn't always show up on the stat sheet. That's the thing. And that's why it's been hard for me to write up Mikal Bridges for DFS, OG Anunoby for DFS. As much as I love the Knicks, I feel like I've paid overall from the wagering side of it too from the regular season. I paid such little attention, Serge, because they don't have a balanced rotation. Tom Thibodeau just plays his starters so many minutes that those props will always be high for those starters because the algorithms are going to be basing their projections on the minutes ceiling, which is always going to be 40.
Yep. Because like an Anunoby and Bridges, their points lines will always be 14, 15, 16 points. But then there's always games where both of them don't even score 15. And one of them shoots like 1 for 15, goes 1 for 11 or 1 for 10. And they don't even score 10 points, one of them. But hopefully tonight we see a little more of game 4. Hopefully.
Yeah.
And then the crazy part, we haven't talked about Cat. And I feel like he's a star. He's supposed to be the Knicks' second best player. And I actually think he's their most talented player from a raw standpoint in terms of talent. But yeah, he gets in foul trouble. He kind of like he's a little floppy here and there.
He's got like a broken bone in his hand.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm avoiding him. But he's part of the chaos too on the court.
Oh, sometimes he hits some big shots.
Yeah,
he hits some big shots, Towns. And I just wish he'd stop whining. He whines way too much. Dude, just stop whining. Stop whining. Some games are going to be tightly called. Some games are going to be loosely called. You'll see after the first 8 minutes of the game what kind of game you have. That's all you need to see. And just stop complaining. Play basketball. Win the series. You know?
Yeah, he's been great on defense, but like some of those like he'll take the ball up in the post and just come up very soft, and then he tries to blame the refs for why. I'm like, that was a terrible shot. You just some of your post play is just not good. It
Right.
just looks very like unorthodox and sloppy. Like I could tell how he's dribbling the ball. Like that's just not good shot, not a good shot. Uh, Selection, but we'll
Right.
see what happens tonight.
Big thing for
Brunson,
the Knicks, big thing for the
Brun,
Knicks tonight, Serge, as well as it's not only about their play from the arc and getting set shots, but working the post. Now the ball denial won't be there as much without Jayson Tatum, and the Knicks have done a good job. Mikal Bridges cutting inside has been a major difference maker. Major difference maker.
just getting those 15 footers and those just driving in and just popping up. Like I think over the last few games we've seen his offense change instead of just sitting behind the arc and just trying
Right.
to force up threes, or not force up threes, but try to wait for open looks. But he's a great player, and the mid range like that. Brunson won us the game, but Bridges coming along with that mid range is really what's like helping this offense like space out a little more and like creating driving lanes and everything, because now they just can't double Brunson and deny him. Like people are going to be rolling off.
Right. I mean, now let's talk about the other game that we haven't really hit on just yet, and that's the Minnesota Golden State series. Do you feel like this is over? Do you feel like Minnesota just has way too much talent, and without Curry, they just, no matter, Jimmy Butler could score 50, Golden State just can't compete with them?
I would like to say that. I think it's another semifinals that is going to just go 5 games. But I will say the Warriors have been competitive in those games. They haven't gotten blown out. But and Butler still hasn't had that big game. So if Butler does have a big game, I think they could maybe win. But once again, like you said, if Randall's playing like how he's playing, eh, I just think it's a talent. It's just a talent level like discrepancy. They just don't come close. So even if they play close, it's just like hard for me to say like, oh, the Warriors can steal one right now, because I don't think they can.
Right. I'll say this about last game, which kind of confused me and it pissed me off too, because we had that Jimmy Butler rebounding bet on the line. Kerr takes his starters out and then the bench brings them back. They bring them to within 13, and they're just, Kerr's just leaving them on the bench, like within 10, leaving them on the bench. Why?
I don't honestly, Kerr's coaching decisions this whole playoffs has been very, it's I don't know if it's like almost like he's treating it like a regular season. I don't know why. And like I'm glad he's finally using Kuminga, because that guy has a lot of talent. And if they, like you just said, they need the talent gap to be closed, because without Curry, they're just so far behind in talent. You can't expect guys like Gary Payton and these Moses Moody to be the ones to step up. Kuminga is like an X factor. So like play these guys. Butler can only do so much. Butler still do, but like he doesn't even look 100%. So
I can't tell you any Warrior that I have full confidence in starting for DFS tonight. I mean, Draymond Green, I want to say, but even he doesn't give good returns. It's really, and you know what? This is how ass backwards this is, Serge.
I know what
The
you're gonna
two
say.
most trustworthy Warriors are Buddy Hield and Jonathan Kuminga. What's the
Yeah,
world coming to?
I know. It's wild.
Like,
I
that's
always
it. There's nobody else on this team that you can look to trust for DFS or anything.
and if they're gonna extend the series, those two guys are their win factor,
Right, right.
because Buddy Hield has to score and Kuminga has to. Honestly, I don't know what Kerr's doing. Like, how many guys played last game? I think like what was their rotation? I think I saw like almost like 13 guys
Yeah,
played or something.
Ray and I were talking about that on the Game Time show, and he's like, "What? Why are they doing this?" And I'm like, "That's what Steve Kerr does, but he
Yeah.
shouldn't be doing it in the playoffs.
No,
You
not
need
without Curry.
no,
Not
not
without.
without Curry." And so that's why it's hard for me to think that this series won't end tonight. It's an
Yeah.
11-point spread and everything. Just Minnesota's got way too much talent. So let me ask you this overall for DFS, because now we're going to talk about the Wolves here. If you are going to pay up for somebody tonight, out of anyone, any team, I mean, Do you try it with Jaylen Brown and hope he doesn't get eaten up by Bridges and Anunoby, or you go with Anthony Edwards, who's had 30 plus in both of his last 2 games?
I know Jaylen Brown will probably be the easier chalk, and he's the cheaper of those 3 guys of all 4. So the 4 expensive options today are what? It's Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, Butler, and then Jaylen Brown, right? So
well, you know what? Let me just say this. Wait.
Cat.
Yep. Cat too.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And then
So
Randall's 7,900 now.
because he just dropped the 30 burger. But if I had to choose, it's only between 2 guys for me tonight. It's between Anthony Edwards and Brunson. They have the highest. They have the highest usages right now. So I think they're both over 30% right now. So Butler's percentage this playoff series has been 24%. So I'm like, I still expect. I still like him because I'm like, he hasn't had a big game yet. Like, when he's gonna drop like 30? Like, when's he dropping his 30 burger?
Dude,
Like,
if that happens tonight, think about this. If that happens tonight and this series gets extended, game 6 isn't until Sunday. We have to spend the next 4 days hearing about all these fake analysts that have not watched a game all year long go, playoff Jimmy, you can't doubt him. He's a bad man. He's a bad man. How much of that are we going to hear? There's going to be a freaking parade for him.
That's exactly what's going to happen. If the Warriors win tonight, even if he only scores like 23 points, it will be playoff.
He's
Jimmy.
the bad man, Jimmy Butler, the bad man.
But we'll see. I feel like NBA needs, because this is going to be crazy. There's a possibility 3 out of 4 of the games in the semifinals are only going to go 5 games.
Let me tell you this. The NBA is right now praying that the Oklahoma City Thunder
win.
it to the NBA Finals. All right. They know at this point, they thought Boston was their meal ticket. And Boston, Cleveland, would have been a great conference final. Would have been outstanding. I mean, even before the season, you didn't need to be Einstein to be able to tell who was going to be in the conference finals fully healthy. Clearly, that was not the case right there with either the Cavs or definitely now the Celtics here. So it's just, I'm interested. I would love to see, because I don't think ultimately Denver to me is not beating OKC. I can't wait to see OKC and Minnesota. I'm really excited about that series.
That's going to be fun.
But dude, I'm telling you, man, they win tonight, the Warriors, and then Curry comes back. It's a new series.
They won the game 1. They won game 1 after, and they still held on. Curry was healthy while they took their lead, but they still won game 1.
Well, they got lucky because Anthony Edwards was not hitting any shots. He had like 1 point at halftime.
Yeah,
then he started to get hot, but it was too late.
But it was too much. Yeah.
So,
but if the Warriors can win tonight, it will bring up the. I think that's when the T-Wolves start to maybe get a little worried, because then if you get Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy, confident, and then I still don't think Curry can come back healthy with the soft tissue injury. I don't think he can be effective. So I think they're downplaying the fact that they think he can come back, and even if he does come back, it'll be a very, very tough thing to deal with. But the only way that happens if they win tonight. The only way these discussions happen if they win tonight. So we'll see.
Yeah. So ultimately, who do you think is going to win the games tonight? I mean, if I had to guess from everything you've said, I would say you're thinking Boston, Minnesota.
Yeah, I think the Knicks are going to seal it up at 6 at home. I think I think tonight's game will be close. I don't think it's like, I think it'll be a close affair. I just think maybe with I think the refs and a little TD Garden action and a little of the Knicks just doing stupid stuff will give the Celtics a little window of hope. And then I just think the T-Wolves just like put the Warriors out of their misery.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're putting them away tonight too, at least on the Minnesota side. I'm still deciding. I haven't decided on the Knicks Celtics, because if what we saw was a sign of things to come from the Knicks offense and that life that we saw, the Celtics are going to have a problem. My magic percentage for the Knicks to win games against Boston at this point was, well, with Tatum, it would be 47+% for the Knicks, with Boston shooting under 47%. That's with Tatum. Now, without Tatum, the Knicks' percentage to win the game to me, with Boston playing well, is still 47%. With Boston shooting 45% or lower, the Knicks should be able to win that game.
Yeah, I think that's fair. No, my brain tells me the Knicks should win the game. My heart is just, is this really happening?
Right. You're right. Because look, I mean, before the series, we talked about this. They looked horrible. We were texting about it. They looked terrible. It was almost like, yay, they beat Detroit, but they backed into the series and Boston can easily sweep them away. And it was Boston who was beating themselves up because the Knicks were shooting awful in those first two games. But Boston happened to be shooting 35%, and the Knicks were able to stay in the game and come back a couple of times.
I don't want to say the Knicks have this aura about them right now that can't be explained through stats or court of play, but there is not a far off reality where they would have been down 3-0 to the Celtics.
Oh, 1,000%.
Right?
If Boston shot,
they could have actually lost to Detroit too. They could have been out of the series.
Dude,
so it's
I had a feeling the Knicks aren't good. I was talking about this before. And this is another reason why, by the way, I think the Knicks could win tonight. The Knicks stink at closing series out at home. They're awful. In fact,
I don't want it. I don't want to go there.
But, I mean, the Knicks are excellent. Have always been good at closing series out on the road. But, I mean, with Detroit, look, they played well that final half of the Detroit series. And that's what we've seen from them. But this time, we saw them play pretty much a complete game. I mean, they went down early, as they tend to do. But for the most part, a complete game of strong offense. And if they do that again, Boston's not beating them. But I'm with you. I'm not locked into the Knicks winning the series tonight. I think the Knicks will ultimately win the series. But Boston's got shooters. And if the Knicks lay an egg again, this is going to be a series right here.
Yeah, that's my whole thought process. Like, Tatum or not, the Celtics just take so many threes. If they're hitting it, and that Knicks offense is just lackadaisical. Like, they make the thing about the Knicks is, like, it's not even their shot selection. It's like these their offense, and some of these turnovers I see by them are just so unforced errors that just let the Celtics just get momentum. And when the Celtics are hitting threes and getting turnovers in combination, that's what happened in game 3. Like, the Celtics didn't even shoot great second half. It's just the Knicks, just their offense was just so bad. And we've seen that for 3 games. We finally saw a good offense last game. So we'll see if today is like the equalizer.
Final question for you, Serge. I mean, I've had this shooting shirt since 1999. I'm sure you remember when the Knicks changed to this logo.
No. Oh, yeah.
How much couldn't you stand this logo compared to the normal Knicks logo of the 90s?
Oh my God, I hated that one. That was just.
I hated this as much as I hated the New York Islanders changing to the Fisherman logo.
Oh my God, that was another one that's bad. That was really bad.
Stop. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's a good logo. This is crap. This is absolute horse crap.
That's hieroglyphics.
Yes. Yes, it is indeed. You can give Serge a follow on X at S13NGH. So at S13NGH. You can find him in our Discord channels at fantasyguru.com. Serge covers a multitude of sports. Serge, you cover basketball. You also cover MMA and PGA as well. What do you got coming up on the site?
Well, obviously I got MMA every weekend. So UFC is basically every weekend. Then we got the PGA Championship coming up. So it's an interesting time for me. But right now I'm just locked. I haven't been this excited as a sports fan. So the DFS has, it's been years since DFS has taken a backseat to my fanhood. And now my fanhood, like, I feel like I'm a 13-year-old again. Every night, like, the Mets play a lot of close games. The Knicks might go to the Eastern Conference Finals. I can't, and they're playing the Pacers. I don't even know what to say.
Same matchup that would be from 25 years ago.
Fensty, I'm not gonna lie to you. A part of my soul will die if they lose to the Pacers to miss the finals. I'd rather lose to the Cavs. I'm dreading this year. I want them to make the ECF, but I'm just dreading the fact that the revenge narrative going up against, it's like the final boss of a video game, and they set it up perfectly. And I'm like, oh, I have to deal with these these people again.
You gotta keep the Pacers from shooting super shredder style at 65%.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, and that's what happened in that series. Besides the fact that the Knicks were losing players right and left, it was that Indiana, those first couple games, they weren't missing shots. And that's going to be a problem. You saw Halliburton score 31. It's going to be a lot of Halliburton scoring and you're seeing Derrick White do it. But again, the series against the Celtics isn't over. Ultimately, we both think unbiasedly the Knicks are going to win the series. It's just a matter of when, not locked in tonight. We're both pretty much locked in on the Wolves advancing this evening, though, which is absolutely incredible. Fun playoffs. And Serge, it's been a lot of fun hanging out with you, man. And we'll have to talk again before the playoffs are over. Even if the Knicks lose the next 3 games, we'll have to talk some showdown slate DFS strategy.
You won't be talking to me. I'll be in hiding. So I'm gonna delete my number.
Yes. Suddenly our MMA subscribers at fantasyguru.com are currently rooting for the Knicks, so that does not happen. So Serge Singh, everybody. I'm Justin Fensterman. Ray Flowers will be back tomorrow, noon Eastern, same time, same place, same channel for Fantasy Sports Daily. Again, catch me tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern for Elite Sports Game Time on Sirius XM, Channel 87. For Serge Singh, I'm Justin Fensterman. Good luck to everybody out there, and let's play and win